Oh, oh, got me off guard here. There's something you don't see too often. Somebody smoking on TV. No, that's on TV. Oh, you know. Well, I better put it out. I can see somebody out there right now going, put it out. It's coming through my screen. Okay, fine. I'll put it out. I have another story here. This is basically about my first experience with girls and the consequences of a woman scorned. This happened at about the tender age of 5 years. The title of the story is The Girl That Gave Me Warts. There was a girl that lived a few houses down from ours. Her name was Skippy. She was quite a bit taller than me, maybe 3 feet tall, and thin like olive oil from the Popeye cartoons. She was a beautiful girl with long golden hair and bigger teeth than anyone I had ever seen before in my whole life. It seems she always wore a dress. Come to think of it, it was always the same dress. Or it could just be that this is the image that has been burned into my memory. Well, initially we had a very innocent friendship, and she seemed to be much like all the other boys that I played with, just a little bit prettier. The first time I saw her, she was saving night crawlers from drowning in the puddles on the sidewalk. So I could tell right away that Skippy was a special kind of girl, my kind of girl. She could pick up worms, and that's important. Without saying a word, I knelt down on the opposite side of the puddle from her and carefully picked up a worm and gingerly placed it on the grass so it could catch its breath and dry out. It's a good thing I didn't know about artificial respiration, or I may have tried to resuscitate that worm, although I'm really not too sure which end you're supposed to blow into. Nah, don't worry about that. Well, from that moment on, our friendship blossomed. We collected ants together, made mud pies, took turns letting caterpillars crawl on our arms, and that tickly feeling you get. One of my favorite activities, though, was searching for stuff in the dirt under her porch. I mean, that was like being Jacques Cousteau, exploring the deep, dark depths. Well, under a porch. And Skippy would sneak a couple of spoons from her kitchen, her mom's kitchen, and we'd use them to dig up all sorts of things. We found an old comb, we'd find June bug skeletons, buttons, and bazooka bubblegum wrappers with that little cartoon inside. Once we even found a bone. Yeah, it could have been a baby dinosaur bone for all I know. Maybe a human bone. Although, now that I think about it, it did look a lot like a chicken bone. Anyways, we did all the stuff that I would do with any of my regular guy friends. But then something happened that would forever change my life. Skippy said that she wanted to play house. Well, I didn't know what this game was and asked her how to play it. She said that she plays the mother and I play the father. So she set up a box with a small blanket draped across it for a tablecloth and placed some little cups and saucers on it. Then she made me believe that she had made breakfast, mixing in the bowl and whatnot. Then we both knelt down at the table and drank coffee and ate invisible pancakes. It was quite a bit of fun. When we were done, she piled up all the dishes and then stood up and said it was time for me to go to work. Well, I told her, I don't want to go to work. But she insisted that it was all part of the game. I told her, well, I didn't know where to go. Where am I supposed to go to work? And she said, I only had to make believe I was going to work. I get it. Yeah, okay. Skippy handed me an old straw hat to put on my head and a book to carry under my arm just so I look official. She then instructed me to say, I'm going to work now, honey. Goodbye. Well, I wasn't too keen on calling her honey, but again, she insisted it was all part of the game. I repeated those fateful words and turned to walk off the porch, down the stairs, and on off to work, wherever the heck that might be. But just then, she put her hand on my shoulder and stopped me. And she says, aren't you forgetting something, honey? And as I turned my head to look at her, she did it. She kissed me. She kissed me right on her lips. Ew, what the hell was that? I asked her, well, why did you do that? She said that the mother and father are supposed to kiss when he goes off to work. And then she had the guts to suggest that we do it again because I hadn't properly kissed her back. I felt kind of creepy and sick to my stomach. So I told Skippy that her kiss made me sick and I had to go home. I dropped the book and threw the straw hat off as I ran down the steps out of her yard and towards home and safety. I kind of avoided Skippy's yard for quite some time after that. I'd go all the way around the block on the opposite side of Skippy's house just to get to my friend Georgie's house a few doors down. Well, after some time passed, I made the error of walking past Skippy's house again. And there she was, standing right at the front gate with her filthy little sundress. "Good morning, Walter," said the spider to the fly as she invited me in. I hesitated to enter, but she promised to show me something really neat. And, like a dummy, I fell for it. Well, Skippy said that if I helped her pick some dandelions for her mother, that she would show me the neat thing that she promised. Well, as we were picking the dandelions, Skippy warned me to be careful not to get the white juice from the dandelion stems on my skin. Well, I asked her why, and that's when she took her handful of sticky, gooey, white stems and rubbed them down my arm, all the way from my elbow to my hand. And then she jumped up and said, "Because it'll give you warts." And she laughed and ran up the stairs, disappearing into the house. Well, I quickly and frantically rubbed the white goop off of my arm and onto my corduroy pants, hoping that I got it all off quickly enough to avoid being poisoned. Well, I tell you, for some time after that, I checked my arm every morning for warts. Looking up, no warts. I guess it's okay. Well, eventually I realized it was all probably just a trick, a joke on me, I suppose, and I stopped looking. Oddly enough, some months or perhaps a year later, I developed warts. I had a line of warts all the way from my elbow down to my fingertips, right here. My mom tried an old wives' tale method to remove them, which involved beet juice and some other stuff. I don't know what was in there. I think onions. She'd soak my whole arm in a large hot kettle of her dark purple concoction. Sadly, all I got out of it was one purple arm that lasted for several days or a week. And I'll tell you, having one purple arm at the age of 6 makes you quite the target for your peers. On the other hand, it makes a fine weapon if you tell them it's catchy. Let me give it to you, let me give it to you. No, that always scares them. Anyways, later I was taken to a real doctor, and he had me try various vitamins, salves, ointments, but nothing could break that witch's hex. He even tried burning some off with acid, but they grew right back. He finally said that the only way to get it off would be to cut it off. This scared the hell out of me because I thought he was talking about my arm. Not really, I did. I somehow convinced my mom and the doctor, after whining and pissing and moaning for a while, that they're really not all that bad and that I could live with them. And we tried some other salves and vitamins for a while, and eventually we just gave up. It's interesting, I still have those damn warts to this day, although they're not quite as bad as they were back then. Occasionally I'll be sitting at a family gathering, watching my nieces and nephews' children play in the dirt, and pick up worms, letting caterpillars crawl on their arms. And my mind wanders back to those days, those good old days when I played with Skippy. And I wondered what's Skippy doing these days? That little bitch.